U.S. Senator Rand Paul told more than 100 supporters at a Louisville fundraiser Friday night why he should be elected to a second term. He mentioned President Obama and Hillary Clinton in his remarks, but one name that was noticeably absent was his Democratic opponent in this fall's election, Lexington Mayor Jim Gray.
I am proud to introduce him to you tonight. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a leader named Rand Paul.
They were once rivals for the Republican presidential nomination, but former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina appealed to supporters assembled at GOP fundraiser Kathy Bailey's home to push Paul across the finish line for a second term in the U.S. Senate. Fiorina's added firepower comes days before the June 30th deadline for the second fundraising quarter of 2016. Paul is competing against Democrat Jim Gray, whose deep pockets have helped him narrow the incumbent's financial edge. But neither Fiorina nor Paul uttered the Lexington mayor's name, instead focusing squarely on why Paul should be given another 6 years in Congress. Fiorina said it's important for the GOP to retain control of the Senate.
It's not just about numbers. It's about who's on the field. If Rand Paul stays on the field, and I know he will with your help, if Rand Paul stays on the field as a senator from the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, what I know and what you know is that he is going to stand tall for the principles and the values that have made this nation great. He has the courage to fight the fight, even if it means fighting members of his own party, and we've seen that happen a few times as well. And he did it on the debate stage.
Paul was critical of presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton's handling of terrorist attacks at the U.S. Embassy in Benghazi, Libya during her time as Secretary of State. And he said he believes President Obama has far overstepped his executive authority.
People ask, what's the worst thing President Obama's done to the country? I say, how long do you have? But to me, it's not Obamacare, it's not the banking regulations, it's not one thing or another. It's the constellation of all of it together, and that is the collapse of the separation of powers. Our founding fathers made co-equal branches of government so we could check and balance each other. But they're not equal at all. Do you know what Congress is in comparison to the presidency? The presidency is 1,000-fold more powerful. Didn't start just with this president, but he's made it worse. And I've asked repeatedly, do you want a king? Do you want to let him do whatever he wants to do?
Paul also spoke against extending the post-9/11 authorization for use of military force against al-Qaeda to include ongoing campaigns against the terror group Islamic State. He says Congress should vote on authorizing force against ISIS.
In 9/11, we were attacked, and your Congress voted, and the people were fairly unanimous through Congress. They declared war on those who attacked us. If you read the 9/11 use of force, it says very specifically, we will go after those who attacked, organized, harbored, supported, but it's all about 9/11. You cannot read that authorization and believe that it has anything to do with other than 9/11. The war now has nothing to do with 9/11. Unless you're going to say that all is related to radical Islam and we can be at war for the next 1,000 years that they attack us. No, we need to vote on it. We can't let one generation bind another generation to war.
Neither Paul nor Fiorina spoke to reporters after their remarks. Kathy Bailey, the former U.S. ambassador to Latvia who hosted Friday's fundraiser, said Paul doesn't take anything for granted in politics. And after crisscrossing the country as a presidential candidate, she's eager to see Paul make his case for re-election in the highest-profile Kentucky race in the November 8th elections.
He's going to be able to ride the message, not only with what the Democrats are going to try to do to discredit him at all various levels, but what Senator Paul is going to do is get out and not only talk about things that he wants to do to win this race, the agenda and the beliefs and the principle that he stands on, protecting our civil liberties, protecting the Constitution. But we're also not going to allow Hillary Clinton to get any kind of loft or advantage whatsoever.
Bailey also said that she expects a successful re-election campaign for Paul will help boost Republican candidates for the State House this fall. Reporting from Louisville for Pure Politics, I'm Kevin Wheatley.